What's up, you guys? Matt Jablonski here with the Point of Change. It is Sunday night, 9 p.m. Central, so you know what that means. It is time for the Point of Change meets. And tonight, the Point of Change meets Jenna Chapman. Jenna Chapman is a 26-year-old single mother of two with 17 months of recovery. She's from Ohio, and she wanted to come here tonight and share her testimony with us, and I would love to give her that opportunity. So first, let me welcome some people to the feed. If you're not watching live, you can drop me a hashtag replay and still hang out with me. Of course, as always, if anybody's looking to become a supporter of what I do, you can go over to patreon.com/thepointofchange and become a supporter. And merchandise is available at Spreadshirt. There are links to all of that in the description of the video. What's up, Wendy, Cindy, Bo Bindi, Patrice Wops, good to see you tonight. Danielle, hello, good to see you. Mariah Kirkman, thank you for being here. Angie Hornback, Brendan Clark, and good to see you, brother. Big Pete from Texas, Jim Hartley's here. What's up, guys? Give me some likes, give me some loves, give me some shares out in any addiction groups you may be a part of, or invite anybody you think should be here. Go ahead and tag some people. Let's see, what did I do today? Today, I moved my girlfriend in with me. Well, actually, it's been the last few days has been part of the process, but today we moved like the majority of her stuff here. So my house, as you can imagine, is a disaster. But it's a wonderful disaster, and we're getting it put back together. She's got her big ass bed here now, so that's one bonus right there. I'll tell you what, this thing's comfy. We got a new couch today, and it takes up my whole living room. That's the personal announcements for you guys. My girlfriend's living with me, and I got a new couch. That's where my social life stands. Jenna Marie Brown, good evening. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. Jim Hartley. I'm Jim the Drunk from West Virginia, and I love and care for you all. Right on, Jim. Way to get right to the point, man. I love it. Patrice, Susan McIntosh, Shasta McCulley, and Dana Moore. Ooh, definitely. Some good tags. Some good tags. I love all those ladies. Tammy Brooks and Patrick Great. What's up, you guys? Thanks for joining me. How's it going? I hope everybody's having a good weekend or had a good weekend and you're ready to get back to the work week. But for now, let's get to my guest for this evening. Everybody, if you wouldn't mind, throw up every heart in the world and welcome Jenna Chapman. What's up, Jenna?
Hi, guys. Hi, Matt.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are we doing tonight?
Good, good. I'm in an awesome mood, as usual.
Good. I didn't know your girlfriend moved in with you. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's been the movement all day today, just taking trips back and forth from her old place to my place. So,
Great.
yeah, making the next step, taking the next step up in this world.
Right.
So you look like you're at work. What's going on there?
Yeah, I'm at work. Get everybody up to speed. I work at a sober living house part-time. I work third shift on the weekends. I work 12-hour shifts on Saturdays and Sundays. I work 8 p to 8 a. It's pretty chill. It's pretty much a men's facility. We have a couple different facilities that kind of have their clients in the building. We have couple different companies that have their clients here. So there's 3 different companies that have their clients in the building. Only a third of those people I'm responsible for. So the other 2/3 are pretty much like responsible for themselves. And then there's about a third of them that I have. I have about anywhere from 18 to 25 clients at a time. They're usually all men that come through my third of the facility. So I'm here at night, so usually there isn't a whole lot going on. Pretty much just R&R, and then making sure they're here, making sure they get up in the morning and do their chores and clean, and everybody's, not trying to sneak out and being where they're supposed to be, and making sure everybody's okay. So I've been doing this for a while, and I like it here. I'm not a big fan of thirds, but I do like the job, so I can deal with it. It's all right.
Now, what area are you in of Ohio?
I'm in Lima, so I'm kind of like in between Dayton and Toledo on 75. I'm like pretty much smack in the middle of those two. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so pretty
What?
much like about an hour from Dayton and an hour from Toledo. So I'm pretty much right in the middle.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
what do you, I imagine you have a wide variety of addicts coming in, but what are the main drugs that you deal with there?
Mainly heroin and alcohol. Um,
Okay.
are, are the main two. We do have our fair share of methamphetamine and crack cocaine, but mainly heroin and alcohol are our big two. We have our kind of older crowd. Most of them are here for alcohol, and then the younger crowd is mostly here for heroin. So that's kind of what I've seen in my experience working here is that's the age, a lot of the age groups that I've seen is the younger people.
Okay. Okay. So what are you recovering from then?
I am mainly recovering from heroin, opiate
Okay.
in general. I did have my run with crack cocaine for about a year and a half, and I had my run with meth for about a year, but mainly for my 6 years of addiction, opiates were my main.
Okay. Okay. So what's that like for you then, dealing or working with people that are in that life?
I think that it's helped me a lot. I think that it keeps me grounded and it keeps me seeing that I can always be back at that at any given moment. And most of the people I see in here, this is their first step and this is where they've come from either straight out of treatment or straight off the streets. And I think seeing that and being reminded of that on a daily basis really helps me through my recovery. And because I've been here and I've been in the sober living house and been at 30 days clean, and I remember that not being very much fun, so I think that that keeps me grounded for sure.
Definitely, definitely. So let's get a little bit of a picture. What brought you into your addiction?
So, like most, a lot of stories that I've heard, I was put on pain medication.
Okay.
After I gave birth to my first daughter, I was put on pain medication, and it was pretty much a downhill slope from there. Um, it didn't get really bad until my daughter was about 2. That's when it got really bad. But it did start very shortly after I had her. But that first 2 years was a lot of dibble and dabbling. There wasn't really, any withdrawal, and I hadn't really got myself into that deep hole. I felt like that first 2 years I was still floating. I still kept my job. I was a co-manager at Speedway for 4 years. So I was still doing that during that time. And, I felt like I had everything under control and it was all gonna be okay. And um, I met a guy, and it just kind of progressed from pills to heroin over time. He had been on heroin previously. When we got together, he wasn't. Um, and we just ended up mixing, and we were the wrong mix for each other because it didn't go well. But we stayed together for 4 years. We had a daughter together. She's now 3. We are not together anymore. We've kind of agreed it's best to go our separate ways, but we had a very toxic, abusive relationship, and it just wasn't good. But we got a baby girl out of it. So
I was gonna
I
say there's a silver
won.
lining there.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely. There's at least you got something good out of the relationship, right? And nothing, if nothing else, you got the lessons learned and you won't go back down that road again, right?
Oh, that's right. Yes, I learned the signs and I learned the red flags, and I've pretty much been single since. We split pretty shortly after I got clean, and I've kind of dated around a little bit, but I work 2 jobs and have 2 kids. I don't really have a whole lot of time to date, you know what I mean? So
Right, right. So you went through your dabbling phase, and then you started to started to use illicit drugs and got a little more into the heroin. What was the sign? When did it all fall apart, and you knew you had to get clean?
um I think the first time I lost custody of my daughter. I lost custody of my daughter before I started doing heroin. This was when I had gotten real bad off on Percocets. And my mom was dating a cop at the time. And they showed up at my house at like 10 o'clock on a Friday night. I'll never forget it. Me and my daughter were sitting on the couch eating pizza. And my mom had these papers in her hand for custody, and she's like, listen, we know what's going on, and if you don't sign these papers right here tonight and let me take her, I am going to call children's services. And I'm like, you're bluffing, you're not going to call children's services on me, there's no way. So I slammed the door in her face and told him to go home. Well, Monday morning, children's services shows up at my door, drug tests me, gives my mom my daughter. That was my first point when I knew. But I think at that time, I couldn't really even live with the pain of not having my daughter. I couldn't even wrap my head around that and go through my daily life normally without her. And I truly believe that that's what sent me down that hole, because within 2 months I was doing heroin.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had so much pain and guilt and anger towards my mom, but towards myself most of all. At the time I was mad at her, but looking back on it, I really didn't, she was just trying to protect my daughter. That was
Right.
So, I mean, that was the point that I knew, but I didn't do anything about it at that point. I just kind of my mom ended up having custody of my daughter for about 2 months, and then her dad kind of stepped up and said, okay, well, I'm the biological parent, there's nothing wrong with me, I want to take her. And so he ended up getting full custody of her. And after that, I was like, what else do I have to live for? He has full custody, and it happened really fast. I lost her in August of 2016, and she was living with her dad by Christmas. It
Oh,
all happened
wow.
really fast.
Mm-hmm.
So I just didn't really know what to do, and I was just kind of at a lost phase in my life. I don't have my kid. Well, she was living with her dad by Christmas. On New Year's Day, I found out I was pregnant with my youngest. So that kind of changed everything around in my life, because I was not in any position to have another child at all. My initial thought was I was definitely going to give her up for adoption, and just being honest. I mean, that was definitely my initial thought. I'm in no way, shape, or form ready to have a child. Me and this dude are not stable. It just wasn't good. Well, I found out I was pregnant. He ended up going to prison for 9 months. So I had my chance to get away and get clean and do the right thing. And I did for a while. And then I
For a
slipped
while.
for a while. And I did end up having an overdose when I was pregnant. I overdosed when I was 6 months pregnant. I lost custody of my daughter before I had her. So the plan was Children's Services. I had a friend at Children's Services. She was like a friend of the family, and she had been like a second mom to me my whole life. And she was pretty high up on the chain. And she was really, really, really trying to give me the benefit of the doubt. She was always trying to work with me and always trying to help me. I just kept fucking up. Excuse my mouth. Sorry. I just couldn't get it right. And it kind of came to the point where she's like, there's nothing else I can really do to help you in this situation. You've already sabotaged everything with these children. There's not really anything else I can do. They were going to put my youngest in foster care. Well, her grandma, not my mom, but the dad's mom, stepped up and said, I'll take her. And they kind of made this deal with me and put me on this 90-day safety plan. And this was probably 2 weeks before I had her. And they were like, all right, the baby's going to go home with grandma. If you can stay clean for 3 months, you can have her back. Sounded simple.
Okay.
Sounded simple, sounds simple. So I ended up dropping dirty 3 weeks later. And that was the first time my parents and my grandparents and everyone in my life, like, really got me cornered and was like, it's over. Like, you're going to rehab. It's done. We ain't going to live like this anymore. Like, how much more can you screw up? Like, you're going. So I went, and I came back, started getting high again, got high for about another year, went back to, they made me go back to rehab the following year when I overdosed again, came back, started getting high again. This went on like 5 times probably. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5. It was the 5th time that I went, because I went to Toledo twice, and then I went to detox in my town 3 times. The 3rd time was the time it stuck. So, I mean, it took me 5 times. And by the 5th time, my family's like, you're bluffing. That, this isn't really going to work. And I felt like at that point in my life, everyone thought that I was the one that just wasn't going to make it. It was just over for me. And it wasn't. It wasn't over for me at all. And I got clean, and I didn't want to, and I was kind of forced to. And I always say this, I got clean because I had to, and I stay clean because I want to. I tell people that every day, because I definitely felt like I didn't have a choice but to get clean. I was caught. Somebody called the cops on me. I don't know who it was. I still think it was my mom, but whatever. Somebody called the cops on me, and I walked out of the gas station. The cops were standing at my car. I had to open the car. They took me to jail. They charged me with the dope. I sat there for a couple days. They let me go and put me on probation and pretty much said, listen, if you can do everything right on probation, we'll drop these charges. But if you can't, we're going to send you to prison. I'm like, okay, fair enough. And normal Jenna would have been like, well, I'm going to find every single way around this so that I can still get high and stay out of prison. And I think at that time, I was just done running. I was tired. I had a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old at the time, and especially my 4-year-old, I was feeling more guilty about that than I ever had. I felt like I had been taken in and out of her life so much. I'm coming back from rehab and I'm good for a couple months and then I'm gone. And I had that as a child with my dad. And so it took me, the first 4.5 years of her life to figure it out. But I didn't want her to grow up with that same thing in her head that I had about my dad as a child, because my dad was showing up to my school stuff high, and he was not showing up for visits, and he was always in and out. My mom was always trying to lie for him because he was in rehab and she didn't want me to know. And I just don't want my daughters to have to grow up that way, and my little one, I didn't feel like she really knew any better because she was with her grandma and that's what she knew and that's all she had ever knew. But I felt a lot more guilt with my older one because she didn't know the difference, and she didn't know mom wasn't there. And she wanted answers. Like, she's 4 years old. Like, why? Why am I living with my dad? So I felt like out of anyone, I owed it to my kids to at least try to get clean. At least just try. Just try it out. Go day by day and say, okay, well, if this isn't working for me today, I'll get high tomorrow. But I at least owe it to them to try to get clean. And I did. And I still can't even believe it. It's kind of surreal when I sit here with my 2 jobs and my 2 kids, and I'm like, wow, this is really crazy. But I got clean. 3 weeks later, I got a job at a little corner store carry out about 5 minutes from my house. That was a year and a half ago, and I still work there.
Awesome.
I was promoted to store manager, about 8 months into the job. And then after about 5 months, I stepped back down to part-time cashier to get my part-time job here. So
Nice. So you can work in recovery still.
absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. I am in the process of getting my CDCA, which for of those of you that don't know, that's your chemical dependency counselor's assistant certificate program. So that I'm in the process of doing that. I bought a laptop a couple months ago, and I usually work on that here because it's pretty dead at night. So
Awesome. That's pretty awesome.
I'm
So what's going on with the girls then? Are they in your custody?
Well, my oldest one is, yes. Me and her dad have a 50-50 shared parenting plan with her. So we split her pretty much 50-50 down the middle. It evens out to me having her a little bit more, but it's pretty split between him and I. And my youngest, I see her a whole lot more than I was ever supposed to. And it's just really great because she was the one who was just kind of gonna grow up, and I was just gonna be that like distant aunt. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't really gonna be mom, and I am now. And she stays at my house every Tuesday and hangs out till about Wednesday night. And so we do that every week, and it's great. It's great. And I just got things custody wise final all finaled up with my oldest. So my next step is going for my little one. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome. We'll keep praying for you then, man. You're already doing awesome though. You're thriving in recovery.
well,
You know,
thank you. I appreciate it. I'm happy. My dad, he also got clean. My dad's been clean for 4 years. He has some health problems, so he stays with me and my kids, and so we all just hang out, and we're just a big happy family. So it's great.
that's awesome. If you had to put your finger on it though, do you know was there something different the fifth time you went? Something different that clicked or
My soul was tired. Like really, really in my heart at that moment, like I was tired of getting high. Like I don't know. And I've always told people like when you're ready, you'll know. I tell people that in here when they're struggling. I'm like, you'll know. Like you'll just know that it's that time for you to stop, because I had never felt like that before. I had always felt like I got that one little sneaky run left in me, you know,
yeah.
and I didn't have that. And even and then what was really crazy is when my probation officer was like, hey, I don't have to see you every day anymore. I just have to see you once a week. And I wasn't jumping on my first opportunity to go get high. That's what was really crazy for me. I was like, I don't even want to try to go get high. I think that's when I knew. I think I had just caused so much damage and so much heartbreak in everyone's life. My mom opened a life insurance policy on me when I was 22 years old to pay for my funeral.
Wow.
Yeah. And she told me that before I was about to go to rehab for the second time. And that always stuck with me. Like, I always remember her telling me that because I'm like, now I have two daughters. So I'm like, how would that be? Going to talk to my attorney in 14 years about my daughter's funeral. I don't want to have to go through that. I don't want my kids to have to go through that. And I definitely don't want my parents to have to go through that, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, those are the hard realities when you come into recovery and you start to think about things of how that would make you feel. Like that's crazy to me too. It's crazy to me that I never really thought about it before too, you
Right.
know? Like, why would you not think about that what it's like for your parents to do that kind of stuff? It's a strange life to live. I love what you said there that your soul was tired because I had that same feeling when I sat my 97 days in that jail cell. I had this feeling like my soul wanted it all to stop. My
Yeah.
soul wanted to stop. My soul, what was going on was the feeling I had was in my head. I had these three voices going on. I had what I finally figured out was my body, my mind, and my soul. My body was saying, I want to get out of here and I want to go get high. My mind was saying, I want to get out of here, but I want to stay clean. And my soul, I could feel it saying, you need to stay here. We're not ready. I don't want to go back out there. You know, you think this is fun. I'm going to burn, dude. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so I really totally understand that soul, but you're being soul tired.
Just tired. Yeah. Yeah.
Sick and tired of being sick and tired.
I know that's right, man. I couldn't do it anymore. And my grandma, that was another thing. I have a grandma and she was just a mess for 6 years. And I was going to give that lady a heart attack if I didn't quit getting high. For real. Like, because she would leave me these voicemails just sobbing. This is my 90-year-old grandma crying. She can't go to sleep because she's so worried about me. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. It's not to her, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, I've seen, like, there's many evils in this world, but it seems like drug addiction to me goes way up there on the height of evils just because of the, like, if something is so evil that one family member being in an addiction, like, destroys the whole family, like, that's a powerful evil right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's
And
crazy.
you faced it firsthand with having your daughters taken away, but I mean, getting them back, I mean, that's the stuff that I love to focus on, you know, that feeling when you got them back, or that feeling, like you said, when your probation officer didn't need to see you every day. You know,
Right.
I remember that too. I remember that step down of going down to, I remember my probation officer coming to see her and she said, I think you're a prime candidate to be on the minimalist program, which was come see her once every 3 months. And like just hearing her say those words, you're a prime candidate for the minimalist program. When like in my addiction, I had my probation officer at one point was like, I need to see you once a week. You have to be here once a week. I want you in front of me. You know, like we can't control you. Like there was no controlling me.
Right. Right. When they first started me out, my first 3 months of probation, I had to be there every day of the week before 10 a.m. Yes.
Wow.
The first 90 days.
Wow.
So for the first 3 months, I was there every single day of the week before 10 a.m. And then she dropped me down to once a week. Now I go once a month. So yeah, it's nice now. It's definitely good to be dropped down. That's a good feeling. Like, you trust me like that? That is awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And the jobs too, you know, getting trusted by your bosses and by everybody else. I mean, even what you're doing right now, working in a recovery field, you know, you're in charge of other people's lives right now.
Right, right. That first time my boss at the carry out handed me a bag of $3,000 and said, take this to the bank. I was like, you trust me like that? You know, it's just a great, because I've never really had that at a job where someone has really trusted me like that. Like, to think that I'm going to take that money to the bank. You know, Jenna, 2 years ago, you would have never seen me or that $3,000 again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not me anymore. And it's great.
Nah, you don't have to live that way anymore. And that's beautiful, man. Like drug
Right.
addicts can change. We sure can. Like I love that. I love that. There's so many people out there that have such little hope for us too, you know. So it's really important that we keep sharing these stories and keep telling people that it is possible, because there's still, even right now, somebody out there is doubting that their family member can make it out of that, you know.
Right, right. It's crazy.
Definitely. Well, I won't take up too much more of your time here, Jenna. Thanks for coming and sharing with us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for what you do.
No problem. I love it.
All right, and we will see you guys later. Thank you for listening.
All right. Have a good night, Jenna.
All right, you too, Matt. Bye, guys.
Bye. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Jenna Chapman. What a great story. I'm so happy that she got a hold of me and came on here. I love opportunities like that. People that are looking to share their story. I mean, she's already working in the recovery field, so she's already given back, but she wanted to share a little bit of her testimony, or, you know, her entire testimony with us tonight, and share it and get it out there and let people know, you know, how she got to where she is today. And I love that kind of stuff. So if anybody out there is watching this and you guys want to share your testimony or come up here and sit in the hot seat and talk to me and tell me your story someday, don't be afraid to hit that message button on my page. Send me a message. I'd love to get you scheduled. Next weekend, Oh, if I can pronounce this guy's last name. Tim. We're just going to say Tim. Tim S. I think it's Shostak. I think that's it, but I might be saying that wrong. But Tim runs a page called Thug Life, Addiction, and Recovery. He also goes and speaks at prisons and helps a lot with a lot of people out there. I really like this guy. He does his own live videos over on Thug Life, Addiction, and Recovery. If you guys want to check him out, you can. But he will be here next Sunday night at 9 p.m. Central. If anybody's interested, come on by and meet him. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me tonight. I love you guys so much. Once again, if anybody wants to become a supporter of The Point of Change, go over to patreon.com/thepointofchange. Get signed up at the membership level that works for you. If you sign up at the platinum tier, you get your name and your recovery date added to the banner behind me. So go ahead and get signed up. Or if you're looking for merchandise, go over to shop.spreadshirt.com/thepointofchange. Get yourself a hoodie. It's getting cold out there. Those links are in the description of this video, by the way. Thank you guys for coming to hang out with me tonight. I hope you guys have a beautiful night, and I will see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. right here on The Point of Change. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay clean.